Hello everybody, we are back. We are back with the Sailboat project. As you can see, the mock-up went well and has been torn off now, and it's been put up on stilts here. And because what I'm going to try and do, what I think the next step for this is going to be, is to try and take it to the digital world. You know, with my architectural background, I'm used to taking things from the physical world and making them digital, but I have never I have never drawn a boat in a design software, whether it be AutoCAD or Rhino or SketchUp, any of that. I've never drawn a boat before because of, you know, the complex curves that are involved. It just doesn't lend itself well to software that works with planes or works with meshes. And so what I'm going to try and do is I found an app, and it's called Displayland. I've done some extensive research on how to do this. I've actually tried to do this a couple of years ago for another project. And basically what you do is, the upshot is that you take a bunch of pictures of something in the physical world from every single angle, and I'm talking about like 1,000 pictures of this thing, and then you import it into a software, and the software actually stitches all those pictures together, and it creates a mesh from all of the pictures. It can take references and find points that match up and starts to make a mesh of the physical object. This app called Displayland does the same thing, but it does it in real time. You're not taking thousands of pictures filling up your phone. All you're doing is you open the app and you're walking around, and it'll show little dots and points and pictures about what areas you're capturing, what areas that need to be captured more, and it'll actually start to create a digital mesh of the boat. And so I did a test with the mock-up on, and I'll show a picture of that now. So you can see the test was pretty rough. I think this was a 5-minute test. There's a lot of polygons. There's a lot of areas that don't end up smooth because you're taking something that's smooth and physical and you're trying to represent it with a series of planes, a series of points and planes. And so I'm not trying to use the digital representation of the boat to take measurements off of. I'm not trying to get super precise with it. I'm just trying to get it to a form where we can talk about it a bit more, where I'm not trying to cut cardboard and actually creating hinges and things out of cardboard, where we can start talking about details and how we want to finish this thing out. And also just to have you know, a SketchUp file or an AutoCAD file of the hull. Maybe it's not super precise, but maybe it doesn't need to be for what we're using it for. So yeah, that's the next step here. So I'm gonna try and do a screen capture of the process where you can kind of see the points starting to appear. This app, it seems to be super cool, super easy to use, and so hopefully we won't have any trouble. But yeah, we'll give it a shot and see what the result is. everybody, and welcome back. So the scanning was a theoretical success. You can export it as a couple of things. The app is very, very user-friendly. And so you can export it as a couple of things, one of them being an OBJ. And an OBJ you can import into Fusion. So I have it here in Fusion right now, which is an Autodesk product. So I have it in Fusion, and it imports it as a mesh. And through the scanning process, it meshes anything. It doesn't know entirely what you're trying to scan, so it meshes everything. And so up here is some of the trees that it caught. But what's really interesting is that's our boat right in there, sitting on our sawhorses, right? So there is our scan. We can already see that there's a couple of inconsistencies, but overall, it really kind of captured the whole thing. So very impressed. And so I've already went through and isolated the boat. So what you need to do is in Fusion, in the program, you need to go into the editing, and you need just to delete everything that you don't want. And so I already did that. Let's see if I can switch over here. Yeah, so this is our boat. So I went through and I deleted everything we didn't want. And to be honest, I'm really kind of impressed that you can take just your phone and an app, and you can create a pretty realistic mesh. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was scanning it, there was a couple of really dark areas. I didn't really like the sides very much, but the bow, it really captured the bow really well. Seeing that this is kind of a unique shaped boat with the rounded front, I was actually really impressed. It captured the benches pretty well, and it even captured that piece of fiberglass that was hanging off here. So yeah, more than enough to look at it conceptually. It located the centerboard, it located the benches. So yeah, it really kind of gave us something to work with. I'll pull up this. This is the 5-minute test that I imported to Fusion. You can see I've already converted it theoretically to solids instead of a mesh. Now it's working with a solid. So even a quick 5-minute of the mock-up really gave us something that we could work with a bit more. And so something that I'm proficient in is SketchUp, just because of it's just so easy, and you can throw something in there and it doesn't need to be precise. And so there is the 5-minute mock-up in SketchUp. And so yeah, it imports pretty easy. You kind of need to know what you're doing in terms of files and conversions, but other than that, it imports pretty easy. But yeah, so I'll open up here the other one. So here is the other one. So you can see I've kind of went through and started adding a couple of details. But this is how the hull came in. This is from Fusion to SketchUp, just exported as an SKP. In SketchUp, you can absolutely see where a lot of the geometry gets really messed up in the scanning process. And if I would have taken a bit more care, if I would have scanned it in better light, or in a wide open space, so I could get more wide-angle shots, I'm sure it would come in even better than this, which is already pretty impressive for just scanning on your phone. But yeah, so the process that I'm doing now is kind of lofting these surfaces, and I'm looking at a couple of plugins for SketchUp, and might even convert it to Rhino. I'm not too familiar with Rhino, but it just seems like it's going to lend itself better. But even still, it gives us enough of a body to start talking about what we want to do with it, and maybe start even adding some dimensions. Anything is better than a cardboard mock-up at this point. So yeah, it's giving us some opportunities to really kind of dive into it and look at it from different angles and get digital with it. But yeah, hope this was educational. It definitely was for me. And if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments. But other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.